Hey, what is going on, Geminis? Butch Show here. I am going to do your 1 week read. It is a general read, so it may not resonate with everyone. It is for your sun, moon, rising, and your Venus. For all you cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. I'm going to be using the Wild Reflections Tarot. And with all that being said, let's get it. Universe, what do we got for Gemini? What message do we have for the Geminis? What do we have for Gemini's universe? All right, Geminis. So the first thing that I'm picking up is I feel like this is someone that you already know. And I feel like with this person, there's a lot of frustration. You know, I feel like you have this great connection with this person. You know, I mean, I feel like there's this, they're like your lover and your best friend all in one, which I know sounds great. But the frustrating part about this connection, like I said, with that lover's card, I like to say the iceberg love. You know, you always knew there was something there. You know, like an iceberg, you can see it from a distance, but the closer you got, the bigger it really became. And like I said, not only is this person your lover, but it's your best friend. But I feel like this person is frustrating as shit. You know, I mean, I feel like there's late nights anxiety, because I feel like with this person, it feels like they shut you out. You know, I mean, we have the Five of Pentacles, that hot and cold energy. It feels like when it's just about to get somewhere, they shut down on you. You know, it feels like you make 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. I mean, you can see the potential here. You see it, you feel it. You know, I feel like with this person, you feel a way that you've never felt before. You feel safe with this person. You feel protected by this person. You know, you feel unjudged. You feel like there's nothing you can't say to this person. There's nothing you can't talk about with this person. You know, I feel like they make you laugh. They make you smile. They're a little weird, and I feel like you dig that. You know, I feel like your weirdness just fit each other. Everything seems perfect with this person, but then there's these moments when it feels like you're so distant from each other. Now, there's a good reason for that. You know, with the Seven of Wands, I feel like this person has some boundaries. Like they put some invisible walls up. And it's because of their fear of commitment. They're afraid of committing, and they're not afraid of committing to you. It's not because they don't want you, because they do. Their biggest fear is being vulnerable. You know, sometimes we believe that what we're doing is the best thing we can do. Sometimes we're just wrong. And I feel like they're wrong. You know, they have these boundaries up and they're afraid to commit. But they want to. They want to take that leap of faith. I mean, there's never been a moment where this person felt any more connected to anyone than in these moments with you. They want to be honest with you. They want to open up to you. But that's when the fear creeps in, and that's when they kind of take a step back instead of taking a step forward. I mean, I feel like you have this establishment of trust. You know, I feel like you trust each other. And I feel like it can get very frustrating because what's going on is hard to see, even though it's right in front of you with that Two of Swords. Even though it's right in front of you, I feel like there's moments when you don't know what this person is thinking. You don't know what their mentality is, because everything with this person screams soulmate, twin flame. Like, it's such a strong connection with this person. You've never felt so connected. And trust me when I say this, they feel the same way. But they're letting fear rule them. And fear is what's really hurting the two of you. You know, this person is overthinking the shit out of everything. I mean, look at these three cards. We're going to go back to this because I feel like this is, you know, they're setting boundaries, fear of commitment, but they want to commit. I don't know what it is. With these two cards here, when I see these, like the reverse Four of Wands and then the Fool card together, it always perplexes me. Because it's almost like sending the opposite message. You know, it doesn't make any damn sense to me sometimes when I see things, but thankfully the rest of these cards are kind of tell me what I need to know and what I need to tell you. I mean, the Four of Cups, you're the only one for them. You know, they know that. And I feel like they want to tell you. They know what they want. They know exactly what they want. You know, they feel completely where they're meant to be with you. You know, they feel like that cheesy line from Jerry Maguire, you complete them. They know it. You know it. You're stronger together. You're balanced together. You know, I feel like this person balances you out, and I feel like you balance them. And I feel like the only thing holding you back with this is their fear of... It's not the fear of committing. They want to commit, and that's why it's so confusing to watch the Fool and the Four of Wands in reverse next to each other. It's driving me absolutely crazy. Because it's like saying two different things. Like, it's like saying you love someone and you want to be with them, but you can't be with them. I want to be with you, but I can't be with you. Like, why the hell not? You know what I mean? This person is they fantasize about you. They fantasize about a future with you. But then we have the Moon card, and they're letting like that overthinking with that Four of Swords. And then we have the Moon card is like letting their imagination run wild. I think the biggest message we're getting from this is the fact that this person, they have some serious commitment issues, and it's not because they're afraid to commit to you, like I said before. It's the fear of, if they commit, what if you don't feel the same way? You know, for some people, they can be vulnerable with 100 different people. This person they're not used to being vulnerable. You know, even though I feel like you have this open communication, I feel like you talk about anything, you know, there's really no boundaries. Then we have the Seven of Wands, which is this person trying to create boundaries. They're trying to keep you out, and they don't even know why. I mean, we got the Queen of Swords. This person just wants to be... They just want to be honest with you about everything, and I feel like this is just another thing that... I mean, it's going to pass, though, because, I mean, I feel like the Eight of Swords in reverse. I feel like this person breaking free of that self-imposed prison. The only thing holding this relationship back is them. I mean, they want this. They're happy. I mean, we have the Nine of Cups. and the sun. And I keep saying this with the sun card. I love the sun card. Like of all the decks I have, I think this is the best sun card. You got this, she's in her house coat. I said night coat earlier, like the 1930s or some shit. We have that. She's in her house coat, barefoot. She just ran outside, started beating on her gong, and she don't even care. She's just happy. She's deliriously happy, and I feel like this is where you're supposed to be with this person. You're supposed to be in a place where you're just fulfilled and happy, and I feel like you're gonna get there. I just feel like this person just needs to get over that bullshit. They need to see this in a different perspective, and I feel like that's what's going to change this. I mean, their biggest fear at the end of the day is gonna outrule. Their biggest fear isn't being vulnerable. Their biggest fear is losing you, and I feel like that thought, that moment of losing you, is going to overcome this bullshit that they've been going through, because I feel like this is a lifelong bond. I feel like this is the person you were meant to be with, and they were meant to be with you, and you were meant to be with them, and all this bullshit is momentarily getting in your way. But what you want is coming. That ship is coming in. This person isn't going to be emotionally stupid forever. I get it. We'll get into that though, but I get it. Just because we have this, just because we're soulmates, just because we know it, just because they know it, doesn't always mean it's going to work out perfectly. There's going to be bumps in the road. And let's look at this, okay? Okay, no, we'll get into that in a minute. We'll get into it. I don't want to waste your time with my stories if you don't want to hear them. With this person, we have Gemini, we have Aquarius, we have Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We have some Pisces and some Scorpio and Taurus. Got some Taurus in there as well. Anyway, that's the end of the reading for all the people that are just here for the read. I appreciate you. Anyone who wants to hear the stories, here we go. It's not really a story. It's kind of like a, I don't know. I used to call myself emotionally disabled because I was always so, and trust me, I'm not completely over it. So I'm recovering. I have a hard time letting people in. I always did. I grew up with, and this is not a pity party. Just kind of like helps explain a little bit. I grew up with really no love growing up except for my grandmother. Actually, I just posted a picture of her on my Facebook. But anyway, I never really felt loved except for with her. Even, my parents and stuff is, and it's, like I said, it's not a pity party. My parents weren't terrible parents. They weren't mean to me. They just weren't loving. And my household was not a loving household. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of love. My parents took care of me. They fed me. They put a roof over my head. They were good that way. So I don't want to put out that message that my parents were terrible people. They weren't. Didn't grow up with a whole lot of love themselves. So, I posted a picture of my grandmother, and I was talking about Remembrance Day and how it not only affects the people that, the soldiers, the men and women that gave their lives for our freedom, but it also affects the people they left home. My grandfather died overseas in the military, and my dad was 10 years old. And my grandmother kind of went through a breakdown because that was her soulmate. That was the person she was, she loved my grandfather. And she kind of had a breakdown. She had 3 young kids. My dad was 10, my aunt was 8, and my uncle was 4. And my dad stepped up huge. So my dad kind of gave up his childhood to help my grandmother. So my dad joined the military. He was very strict. Just a strict guy, just really tough love. That's the only kind of love he gave me was tough love. Is what he called it anyway. So I never really, that was just a backstory. I just don't want people to think that I'm trying to trash on my parents, because I know a lot of people have some bad parents out there. My parents just weren't very loving. They didn't show it. We didn't tell each other we loved each other. My dad's never told me he loved me. And so I grew up in that environment. So I almost like, I tried to ignore the fact that love didn't existed. And I really, when I had my first kid, that's when things really started to change. Like the moment I had my first child, I seen her, there was no doubt that love existed, because I knew from that moment there was nothing I wouldn't do. And every cold she had, every time she had to go get a needle at the doctor, I remember holding her while they gave her a needle, and it broke my heart every time when she was sick, or something happened, she got hurt, or any of my kids. It just kills you, and that's love. But even though you have that, it's still like, that's a different kind of love. But to have like a romantic love, I still was on the fence about it. I was like, how can you trust someone else? How can you trust another person? And you just see the horrors in the world and the things that go wrong and the things that people do to each other, and you just don't, I didn't believe in it. I believed it was all fake and people just acted nice because they liked each other. And then, I met Rose. She's a Gemini. And the moment I met her, it was just like when I had my first kid, it was just something clicked in me and I knew. But just because I knew, and this is the point of the story, I know it's a long story to get to this point, just because I knew doesn't mean it made it any easier to show it. I still have issues being vulnerable with her. I'm more vulnerable with her than anybody else on the planet. Like more than anybody else I've ever been in, like other than my kids, obviously. I'm completely vulnerable with my kids. My daughter likes to paint my nails and toenails. And sometimes we play with her dolls and stuff and her bears and so I mean there's a different kind of vulnerability, but when it comes to vulnerability with a romantic partner, it can be very hard. And I still struggle with it sometimes, because it's like, the more, if I show you everything in me, will you still want me? Will it scare you away? And if it does scare you away, then that just, it's terrifying to me, because if I do that and it scares you away or you don't want me anymore, I'll never feel like I could do it again. So it's hard, but I'm getting better at it. I am getting better. Slow progress, but we're making progress, So just because someone doesn't open up to you completely, that doesn't mean they don't love you. As long as they keep trying, that says a lot. It speaks volumes when somebody keeps trying. The worst thing in the world is being with someone that stopped trying. But anyway, that's my story. Be good. Take care. Stay safe.